Hey there, Reverend Sully, Eric O'Sullivan, ordained on the internet. The caveat, as always, please do not burn your hands holding on to my hot takes. If you do, well, that's on you, pal. Today, um, when does art become propaganda? And can propaganda be art? Let's see. Remember, I'm a high school graduate. I'm an idiot. Yeah, pretty much. And I own that. But I'm pretty well read and I love movies and I love art. So lately on social media, specifically Twitter, my only social media, um, the eternal push pull of left versus right and right side of history and left side of history and left out of history and claims that all art is political. That's bullshit. You remember, I'm from the South Boston projects and I can see through bullshit. And that is bullshit. But that doesn't mean that art contains cultural things of its time or that some art is political. But when art is used as what today we call a platform to inform and to give didactic messages, meaning the learning moments from your betters, or from the institutions that want to shape the way that you think, that's when art becomes propaganda. And then there's outright propaganda, as in state sponsored art. And we currently live in an age where that line is, being muddled in the sand. And, but such as state sponsored art, that was a 20th century phenomenon. And most notably, we saw that historically in Nazi Germany and also in the Soviet Union in Russia. We can see that today in modern, communist China, or it's, the PRC, the People's Republic of China, um, and also any movie made in a Western audience, especially in the U.S., that if it contains things about the Army, the armed forces, or say the FBI or the CIA, there has to be oversight by those organizations to make sure that they're properly portrayed. And so there is some schisms of, not schisms, some interference, between the two. Yes. So, but when is propaganda? So can propaganda be fairly judged as good art? Does propaganda make it instantly bad art? And I say no. A lot of the Soviet Union era art was very interesting, very you know indicative of its culture with its its aim at its own patriotism and of its and its very harsh angles and harsh lights. And if you look at like Soviet era like cars and architecture, it's just everything had some kind of it didn't have any very curved. It doesn't have very much joy for the eye. It was very practical. And I'm not an art historian. I grew up with books of like Rubens and Cézanne and Dutch masters. My mom was really big about exposing me to culture and art. And but here's my example as probably the pinnacle of propaganda as actually pretty good art. Japanese movie, The 47 Ronin. It was made during World War II, and it's the story of Master Oshi and his 46 Ronin, who were retainers to the Lord Asano. And Lord Asano was betrayed and dishonored by Lord Kira. And Lord Oshi, Oshi-san went to the shogun to ask for, to have, Lord Asano's house restored. And this is actually based on history as well. Real historic, the 47 Ronin is a huge Japanese cultural thing. And we're not talking the Keanu Reeves movie from a decade ago. No, no, no. No, 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 no. We're talking the 47 Ronin, parts 1 and 2. This was hard to find. It was pretty expensive on DVD. It's worth it. I love samurai movies. It's a great period piece with its sets, its costumes, and its message too, because it was filmed during World War II, and it was meant to appeal to the Japanese people as this is what you do to serve your retainer. The level of sacrifice it needs to serve basically the emperor, and so this movie is very stirring. I cry at this movie, and basically at the end of Act 1 and at the end of Act 2, or parts 1 and parts 2 rather, and both movies are about 2 hours long each. At the end of part 1, we see Lord Oshi, and he sees his squire, the common man, who has just heard of the 47 Ronin and who have just killed Lord Kira and his retainers out of vengeance. And now Lord Kira has to be on the run. I mean, Lord Asano Oshi-san has to be on the run. So it's Oshi-san's squire. And so Oshi-san comes out of the house, and there's his squire, and he's just committed honorable suicide, and he's dying. And so Oshi has a last word with his faithful squire, who has done this, because he knows that he'll join Oshi in death, because Oshi's not going to have any choice but to wait for the shogun to declare his sentence. And what the moving part was that his young son, the squire's young son, had also taken his life. So there you have the young son and the squire, the common people, sacrificing themselves to the ideas of this nobility and to the code of the samurai that they support. And at the end of part 2, they're given their orders, and the young samurai is about, all the samurai are going out one by one, and Oshi-san says, "No, sir, you have to go first. It's my job to make sure that everyone takes care of their business." And the young samurai says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to presume," and goes out and commits seppuku, the honorable self-deletion. And then it's Oshi's turn, and then the movie ends. And it's very sad. But it's most definitely a movie made to stir the Japanese people in a time of war, at a time of war. And it's pretty much done on purpose for propaganda reasons. And so how does this pretty much compete with anything today that's agenda-laden, didactic learning moments, or just things that are trying to give us learning moments about about current events? At least this movie here is steeped in history, and it's set as a period piece. So the propaganda moments are deftly smuggled in to the fabric of this movie, that you can watch it without noticing that, hey, this was made when? During World War II? Really? Wow. Because it was meant to cause pro-Japanese feelings with the Japanese people. And but yeah, so what I consider, though, any of the propaganda-ish, agenda-laden attempts at entertainment, pop culture fiction as art? No, I don't. Not even artistic things like the comic books and the popular fiction series. They're just it's just it. There's no room for nuance. There's no nuance. It's all pretty much over. It bashes you over the head with a one-sided point of view. There's no balance. There's no art to it. It's just preachy. And this movie is not preachy. It's actually emotionally stirring. So, is all art political? No. Can art be political? Hell yes. Is all propaganda bad art? No. Can propaganda be good art? Pretty much, yeah. But it takes being done right. If only the modern fictions could take a cue from something like 47 Ronin, because it's most definitely, if you want to have these didactic learning moments for the uneducated people, maybe it should be done with a lighter hand and with some actual nuance and some storytelling involved. It's everything these days is done to destroy, it's my humble opinion, to destroy the previous Campbellian hero myth, to replace it with newer modes of thought. It's quite boring, to be honest, and it's not challenging. The challenging thing is to actually get through these attempts at fiction and entertainment, which the activism is antithetical, or not antithetical, is opposite of escapism. Activism is opposite of escapism. To be constantly reminded of the world's problems when you're going to try to take a time out from the world's problems, it's somebody is doing this on purpose. And yeah, as I say over and over again, I see through bullshit, and I can't be sold on it. And I'm not sold on any of the newer popular fictions. Yeah, I mean, they're all kind of ruined in a way. And I take refuge in the past and old movies and the old TV shows. And yeah, and that's where I put my attention, and that's where I seek escapism. Do I find escapism in the 47 Ronin? Yes, because I love samurai movies. And but I have an erudite mind. I can see the strands and threads of the propaganda in this. I don't have to like or dislike it. I can respect it. But overall, I love this movie. They're great. But hey, what do you think? Why don't you leave a comment in the comments section and tell me what you think? Let's continue the conversation. And if you like this kind of content, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, well, give me a thumbs down. I'm a big lad. I can handle it. And give me a subscribe if you'd like. I try to be positive about pop culture. I go on occasional rants here and there. That's only being balanced. I'm an amateur theologian, and I'm an ordained minister. So I do talk about spirituality. And every Sunday, I do my Sunday sermon from Reverend Sully. And give me a subscribe if you'd like. I could definitely use the viewers, and you could definitely use some great content. And I also make cooking videos. I'm a professional chef. I want to elevate your home game and have you make delicious, nutritious, beautiful, tasty food. And I'd love you to share some pictures of it too. That's all I got for today. Thank you so very much. And you know what? If you can, check out the original 47 Ronin. It's worth it. It's a long movie. It's got old movie pacing, but it's beautiful. There was so much effort put into this movie. And I'd like to share that movie experience with you. Cheers and have a great day. God bless. Thank you.